MetLife Stadium, just across the river from New York City, but home to the Syracuse Orange today, as the Orange make their way down to the Garden State to take on the struggling Irish of Notre Dame. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. There have been better weeks in football history in South Bend than they've had even to the start of this season in its entirety. 1-3 start, coming off a home loss to Duke. The defensive coordinator is fired by Brian Kelly. Where is this program right now, and what do you have to see today to see that it's on the right track?
Well, it's on Brian Kelly. To me, that's where I start. I know he put it on the kids, that he wants to see them have a lot more energy, to remember they're collegial and not professional players, that life has been way too hard, and yeah, welcome to losing. I mean, when it's difficult, it's no fun for everybody. I want to see more animated Brian Kelly. He told us this week, he's told everybody, a much more hands-on approach with his defense. It starts with those guys flying around and playing with a tremendous amount of energy. But Brian, you set the culture. You start that train and your kids follow your lead.
Where will your eyes be today to see, I guess, what you would need to see if you're Brian Kelly to know that things are moving in the right direction?
Syracuse is going to throw the ball, and they're going to throw it awfully quickly. And Eric Dungy, their quarterback, cannot have room to breathe. If he has air to distribute and facilitate, like so many of these spread quarterbacks, they can chuck it around the field and go up and down the field. And then defensively, I call it the camera club. How many different Irish do we see in that final picture, that final frame? How much pursuit and energy and emotion will really show itself defensively?
Well, wanting to set the tone, the Irish won the toss. Often you will see teams defer their option to the second half. Brian Kelly said, no, I want my offense right out on the field to start the game. Cole Murphy with a line drive bouncing kick, and it's C.J. Sanders to begin things for the Irish. And he is brought down at the 21-yard line. DeShone Kizer, so far this season, 11 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. He has put up numbers, according to Brian Kelly, good enough to win, Brock.
37 points a game. Yeah, their offense is loaded. This is a tremendous offensive line. He's asked DeShone to play with more patience in the pocket. Felt like his feet got a little violent. Some of his fundamentals fell away, and a couple critical turnovers kept Duke alive, kept him in the game to where Duke could finish. DeShone's got to be sharp today.
And he'll throw on first down. All day in the pocket and delivers a strike. Equanimous St. Brown has a step, breaks a tackle. How's that to start things off for the Fighting Irish? Equanimous St. Brown last season had 1 catch for 8 yards the entire year as a freshman. A 79-yard touchdown there, his 5th touchdown catch this season, and he has developed into quite a weapon for DeShone Kizer.
2 focal points: quiet with your feet, keep that front shoulder down. Those were Brian Kelly's points of emphasis to his still young quarterback, and plenty of time for DeShone to scan the field. And this is one of the concepts Notre Dame loves. When you are in trouble, when you're at 1-3, you'll hear every coach in America say, get back to the basics. That play, that in cut, that's installed day number 1 for the big-bodied receiver. That ball on the money, catch and run. Tremendous start for the Irish.
And Allison Williams is down on the Notre Dame sideline. And Allison, I know that you're going to be trying to watch, I guess, all day today, what the vibe is for the Irish. Are they finally having some fun playing football?
Yeah, that's why after that touchdown was scored, I was watching the sideline to see how they reacted. Too many times against Duke, they were flat after a big play. That was not the case here today. I also kept a close eye on them in warm-ups to see what kind of energy they came out with. And I'll admit, at the beginning it was a little quiet, and assistant coaches were telling them to cut loose and to start fast even in warm-ups, to get after it early and come ready to play. I think they've shown they've done that.
A 79-yard touchdown to start off the game certainly has the ability to fire up a sideline. And Sean Riley thought about bringing it out, and instead will take a knee. Out to the 25 it comes for Eric Dungy, who, Brock, is dynamic in his own right.
And he has to be in this system. Think Baylor. If you haven't seen Syracuse much this season, new head coach Dino Babers, that's what stands out to me. They want to run it, spread the field to do so, and they're challenged. They don't run it very well, just a little over 3 yards a carry, and so much of the success has to fall on number 2. 2.5 seconds or less is the aim. He cannot hold the ball today. They never want to hold the ball in this system, and keep a very close eye on number 7. He's their big playmaker.
A little flip over the middle, and a good start for Irvin Phillips. Irv Phillips spins out to midfield. He averages 9 catches per game, which is 6th best in America. There is the pace for the Orange, right up at the line. Throw scooped up by Brisley Esteem, and that's a gain of 8 yards on first down.
And here we go. You get used to it. Basketball on grass, and you just find as many completions as you can.
Well protected, looking at only a 3-man rush. Floats it down the middle, and he had Irv Phillips again. But just a little too much air under the football for Dungy. It's a touchdown.
And Syracuse can't miss these today. Wonderful eyes. Dungy knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. He sees the safeties wide. He keeps him there. Got to put it right on his receiver.
3rd down on a long 3, close to 4. The Irish jump. A free play, and you'd think an automatic first down, so why not toss it into double coverage, looking for Amba Edetawo, your best receiver.
Offside, number 94, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, we saw a lot of that a week ago, actually the whole month of September. Brian Kelly walking up and down that sidelines. His defensive staff, Brian Van Gorder, not around anymore to yell at. So many struggles on this side of the ball. There's too many holes at all levels of this Notre Dame defense.
Edetawo to the bottom of your screen in the slot left. That is where Dungy will be looking often today. Now a check down, wide open. That was pretty easy. Steve Ishmael, he's got a first down. But Amba Edetawo, Brock, you said the key today, defensively, at least schematically for Notre Dame, how do they roll coverage to number 7 in blue and orange?
And make sure that Cole Luke, their best corner, is on him as many times as they can get him.
Again, he is to the bottom of your screen. Instead, Dungy with a little wide receiver screen, lowering his shoulders to Steve Ishmael. That's like a run play in this Syracuse offense. Edetawo has put up ridiculous numbers so far this season. A 5th-year grad student transfer from Maryland. And you scratch your head and wonder, with numbers like that, what were the Terps doing with him? He was basically invisible in their offense. Right up the gut goes Dante Strickland. 1st and goal for the Cuse at about the 6-yard line.
Well, this is bad defense. I mean, this is exactly what it's looked like this month. You can't stop the pass. You're on your heels. You get run through. Not the start Brian wants defensively.
Another run on a cutback. Fighting down inside the 3-yard line was Strickland. Niles Morgan was there to make the stop. Second down and goal from the 3. Dungy on a keeper, walks into the end zone. What a response by Syracuse. You fire your defensive coordinator, and yet the defensive story for the Irish remains the same. An 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive that Syracuse made look very easy. Blocked extra point. That's a free ball. Jerron Jones blocked it. Scooping it up is Cole Luke. He's down the sideline. Notre Dame adds to their lead. So special teams costs Syracuse a pair of points. And it's a 3-point Notre Dame lead.
You could still score 50 even without playing defense. Do it in the other 2 phases of the game. It'll be electric offensively for Notre Dame today. I think both of these defenses will be tremendously challenged to stop one another. Eric Dungy, get ready to do that quite often today. You're going to need it. And the special teams come to life for the Irish.
Jones was only able to play last season in the Fiesta Bowl. He tore his MCL in August before the season started, missed the entire regular season, but there's big number 94 blocking the extra point, and that results in 2 points going the other way for the Irish. And there's some reaction on the Fighting Irish bench, but that has been too little and too far between, according to Brian Kelly. C.J. Sanders from the 9. Moving the pile to the 27. Now they start at their own 26. Josh Adams finds a crease. Out to the 33 as we check in again with Allison.
Well, you guys know Brian Kelly usually very much involved in this offense, but today it's more hands-on with the defense. Even with the offense on the field, he is still in the defensive huddle. He did say he'll have to relinquish some of his responsibilities offensively, less involved in third down, red zone, 2-minute offense type of situation, so a bigger role there for Mike Sanford.
Adams sets up third down. Interesting, Brock, that the head coach fires the defensive coordinator, brings in Greg Hudson as the new defensive coordinator, but he's an offensive coach now imposing himself on the defensive side of the ball.
That's what happens when you're 1-3 in South Bend. That's the circumstances. You have to be flexible. You have to adjust to. And if you're Brian Kelly and you make that move to fire your coordinator, you have to wear a whole lot more of that responsibility.
Can Notre Dame convert on third down? Can Syracuse get off the field? Kizer floats one down the sideline looking for St. Brown. He's got it again. Another touchdown for Equanimous St. Brown.
And you know what? When it's easier to relinquish some of those offensive responsibilities when you're playing a Syracuse group, and Dino Babers knew it today. They gave up 848 yards to Louisville up and down the field in 84 plays. It has mismatches all over the place for DeShone Kizer to take advantage of, and especially St. Brown coming out party.
St. Brown starts off the day with 2 catches for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we have yet to play 4 total minutes here at MetLife Stadium. Actually turned out to be a perfect day to tailgate here at MetLife Stadium. Cloud cover, no rain. We were expecting it to be a wet Saturday here in the tri-state area, but the rain has held off. And the fans have seen pinball-like offensive numbers put up by both offenses so far, Brock. And that's not foreign to either of these defenses.
Get used to it. I'm seeing defenses that are just simply playing the defenses drawn up on a card and have no idea of why they're playing it or the responsibilities of themselves within it or what their opponent's trying to do to attack. We're going to see lots of offense.
True freshman Sean Riley breaks a tackle. Fights his way across the 20-yard line as we take only a 3-man rush. So Dungy is able to pick up about 5 to Brisley Esteem, with Cole Luke coming up to make the tackle. And here goes the turbo pace of Syracuse.
And watch the running back here, a little unique for Syracuse. He's the one that's communicating the protection and the play to the rest of the line so Dungy can stay in that shotgun.
That's Dante Strickland on this snap, and he gets the carry. Brought down after a gain of maybe a yard by Drew Tranquil. How unusual is that, to have a running back that involved in communication with the offensive line?
As often as he does, pretty unusual.
Third down. Flags down. A shot intended for Editawo. He makes the adjustment. He makes the catch with a cutback. He'll take it the distance. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Goodness gracious.
Offside. Defense, number 22. Throws the flag. Touchdown.
Well, that's twice now. Jumping offsides. Third down situation as a quarterback, just freeze your mind. I know I got a one-on-one, and this is exactly what I wanted and what Notre Dame didn't want. I've got my stud fifth-year transfer receiver who's leading the country in yards and catches against a true freshman in Julian Love. Not Cole Luke. I think that's what Brian's screaming at. Not Cole Luke, my senior, but on a true freshman getting picked on as they have all season long.
This time the point after goes through for Syracuse.
And you saw it last night with the University of Washington. You see it time and again. The elite defenses, it takes 11 that understand everybody's responsibility in their job within a defense. You just, yeah, you're right, Bob. You just can't make one change at a coordinator spot and think it's going to fix the whole thing.
C.J. Sanders down the sideline. Are you kidding me?
No.
We have not yet played 5 minutes. A special teams touchdown. 92 yards.
We have seen more scoring in 5 minutes than you're going to see tomorrow, I promise you, in the Jets-Seahawks game in its 60 minutes. Without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, in big plays as well. Dino Babers, offensive guy. He knows it. He knows he's going to have to score. I bet in his mind when he went to bed last night, if I score 50, I got a shot. Watching this first 5 minutes of play, he may have to score 90.
His defense is up against it to begin with. His special teams group has now given up 9 points in the first 4 minutes and 54 seconds.
And you can see it's a directional kick. You can see the number of bodies for Syracuse and the number of them just standing and watching with poor angles. And Sanders is electric. I love this plan for Notre Dame. It's come to life with Equanimous on his own and targeting him offensively, but Sanders is their difference maker, and he shows it. Where have the good defensives gone? Many of their players want to play offense, and many of them have no idea of what team defense and the concept of team defense and what it should look like.
Up against the sideline, Sean Riley. Tripped up. Let's check. Speaking of true freshmen, there's Mo Neal. His first carry of the day, good for 2 yards. Tavon Coney was able to make the stop for Notre Dame, so it's a gain of 2 on first down, brings up 2nd down and 8. And believe it or not, we are still playing the first quarter. Free play. Neutral zone infraction again, and taking advantage of it is Eric Dungy. He finds the true freshman Sean Riley. That's another Syracuse first down.
And that's 3 times.
Offside, number 90. Defense. Penalties decline. First down.
And this isn't Aaron Rodgers' voice command. This is a clap of the hands. And an obvious, you know how they dictate their snap count.
Might be the final play of the first quarter. Dungy gets out of the pocket again. Brought down. A loss of a yard. Niles Morgan. So far this season in the top 10, number 6 in FBS. In solo tackles, made the stop. The end of a wild first quarter here at MetLife Stadium. A gray, kind of stormy day on the Hudson River, looking across at Lower Manhattan, just across that river here in East Rutherford at MetLife Stadium. Pinball machine numbers put up in the first quarter between Syracuse and Notre Dame. We start off the second quarter after the 2nd sack of the season by Niles Morgan and the 2nd sack of the season for the Notre Dame defense. Syracuse facing 2nd down and long. Eric Dungy lobs one into double coverage. Jump ball, batted around, and it's pulled in by Sean Riley. Now check that, Steve Ishmael with a flag down.
Offside. Defense. Penalties decline. First down.
The same old story. Jumping offsides is Notre Dame. A free play tossed up by Eric Dungy and a long completion. 1st and goal. The toss to Mo Neal. Nothing there.
Well, if a Notre Dame fan is evaluating this change of defensive philosophy, it's got to be a fail in the first quarter. I mean, you've jumped off sides 4 times. You see one-on-one balls that you are still not aggressively attacking and winning. And I still see a very passive group on this side of the ball.
Empty backfield. Dungy, he'll try to do it himself at the goal line. Is he in with a flag down? Just short of the goal line if the play stands. inside the 1 for Syracuse, but we have to check the penalty marker thrown just behind the line of scrimmage.
There is no foul for an illegal formation.
Brings up a huge play here, 3rd down and goal.
And just awesome. Those 5 linemen for Syracuse didn't even move. They all stay there and let the quarterback and running backs make all the calls. Shows you how simple things are with that offensive line and group and what they do.
O'Neal tries to dive over the pile. He is forced back at the goal line. James Onwalu drove back O'Neal. And now it's 4th down and goal. Same spot at the 1-foot line, and now Syracuse will go for it. Play clock under 10. Dungy tries it himself, moves the pile. No signal yet. Is he in? It's a touchdown.
Takes a lot of guts on a QB sneak to take a full step back away from that line of scrimmage, but it allowed Dungy to survey just where he could squeeze and get skinny and find that gap and continue to drive and find a way to get and just barely break the plane of that goal line. But that's all it takes to make this possible 3-point game.
Eric Dungy had 2 rushing touchdowns coming into today. He has 2 now against Notre Dame in the first half. Cole Murphy may have gotten shaken up on that point after attempt as well. He was contacted. That's something to keep our eyes on. Aflac. We return with our Aflac trivia question as Brock circles the exact subject of our trivia question. Those hash marks, what do they signify? If you're watching our game today, this is kind of the football nerd element of it, which I love because I am a nerd and also like football. These extra hash marks, at least seemingly so, outside the numbers on the field here at MetLife Stadium. Why are they there? We will explore that a little bit later on. And now a pooch kick that results in a fair catch at the 28-yard line, trying to keep it away from C.J. Sanders. And it ends up in the hands of Durham Smythe. Adnan, thanks very much. Scoring 8 touchdowns, you belong in our game. As a swing pass ends up incomplete for Kizer, intended for Torrey Hunter. One of the few offensive plays, Brock, that hasn't worked for either of the 2 offenses today.
Well, we've seen a couple. We missed another touchdown last series. Brian Kelly's going to say, I've got incredibly high expectations for DeShone. When I've got a vertical go route wide open to Sefferson, I can't miss it. And a bubble screen on 1st down that is there for 5 to 8 yards. You just can't miss it every single play. Attention to detail.
5-man rush. Kizer well protected over the middle. Wide open is Torrey Hunter. 1st down into plus territory for Notre Dame, a gain of 23. And it must feel for Brian Kelly like there is no margin for error for his offense, because his defense, regardless of who the coordinator is, continues to give up huge chunk plays and points. Kizer doesn't see the rush coming, gets it away in stride to Josh Adams, hurdles a man. 1st and goal. Cordell Hudson saved a touchdown. And now Notre Dame will take a page out of Syracuse's playbook as Syracuse is desperately trying to substitute. 1st and goal. Adams has stood up, keeps driving his legs. Gets inside the 2-yard line, I think, before he was finally brought down. Kendall Coleman, one of those true freshman defensive ends, met him first. And they'll say forward progress stopped at the 3.
And I'd love to see 4 runs right at this group.
The second run turns out to be a walk-in touchdown. Perfect fake from DeShone Kizer. And it's a 2-score lead for the Irish once again.
And once again feels a little bit like 7-on-7. This offensive line for Notre Dame should take advantage of freshmen all over the board for Dino Babers. And if DeShone Kizer is on point, there is enough scheme, there's enough personnel, there's enough talent for Notre Dame to go up and down the field, and unlike the last time in the red zone, find a way to finish and score touchdowns.
Early in my career at ESPN, I called a lot of arena football. I feel like it prepared me for today. The points are easy to come by. Josh Adams set up DeShone Kizer for the touchdown run. We took a look inside the Notre Dame locker room earlier. And now we'll look inside the Cuse locker room. And, sir, it's not our fault. He's got the Notre Dame hat on. But apparently, in terms of marital bliss, I call it divorce avoidance, felt the need to wear the sweatshirt. That's
happy wife.
That's happy life. That's exactly right. So now it's back on the Syracuse offense, down by 10. What has been a marathon first half, because both teams are basically averaging a first down every time they snap the ball. 551 yards of total offense so far in the game. Sean Riley from the 10. Stopped shy of the 24-yard line. All right, Adnan, thanks very much. Adnan described 1916 for Texas as high scoring. What do we have? Steve Ishmael scoops up a short completion. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
What we have are 2 defenses whose only chance to make stops and get stops are by the offense's own doing. If Dungy hits his completions and his hitches and his bubble screens.
Dante Strickland. A gain of 1.5 yards. So here is a 3rd down forced by the Notre Dame defense.
And I'll tell you what they're doing. Syracuse plays so fast, it's very hard to document, but they're playing a lot of 8 men in coverage. Trying to keep everything as best they can in front and rely on the big guys up front to squeeze the pocket. More than half of their snaps have been 8 Irish defenders into coverage. Typically a fairly passive defense.
Dungy flips one, and that is broken up, intended for Strickland. Well read by Greer Martini, and that's a 3-and-out for the Syracuse offense.
It sure was. So once again, 8 men in coverage, and if you're going to do that, and there's a good look at the new defensive coordinator there, Greg Hudson. If you're going to play that scheme, you have to have guys still fire. They cannot just get into their zones and play their zones as it's drawn up on a chalkboard. When you see a receiver screen or a running back screen in that case, you got to come up, Greer Martini, and you've got a collision and you've got to finish, and you actually got a chance to get your defense off the field.
Much better kick this time for Hofrichter. Gets it to the sideline. The directional kick bounces out of bounds. And let's see where they mark it. Near the 30-yard line. Right on the 30-yard line. With about 4 minutes gone by. Flag in this 2nd quarter. So we asked you earlier, what are these hash marks? Near the sideline, outside the numbers. Rock Ewart, want to clue us in?
That is where the collegiate numbers would be. So we're in an NFL stadium, and you really only see this in college football. When you see all the hash marks, you see both sets inside with the hash marks, but that is a landmark and one that those receivers in their schemes utilize, as you can see to the bottom of your screen, getting on the collegiate numbers.
Play action for DeShone Kizer. Had the wheel route, turned it down, flips it to Equinemius St. Brown. The entire Syracuse sideline thought that St. Brown pushed off. No flag comes out. Catches it over the top of Rodney Williams for a gain of 20.
Dino's face says it all right there. These guys are going to be impossible enough for us to cover. But if they're given the opportunity to create space and push off, then we've got no shot.
Counter to Dexter Williams. Couldn't find much room. Picked up a yard to the 50. The edge was held nicely, and Jonathan Thomas finished him off for Syracuse.
Well, and once again, a slower developing play that is going to play to some of the strengths, one of the few strengths that Syracuse has defensively with their team speed at linebacker and safety. Notre Dame is a zone team. They are a stretch team. It is what they do. I'm in a hard time running right at an undersized group.
Kizer has all day. Wide open. Sliding catch. C.J. Sanders. Notre Dame first down, a gain of 19.
And not just all day. And you can see him once again tapping himself, saying, I know I can throw that better. Completions are good, but the bar is set higher for me. I'm more gifted. I'm more talented than that. That can be a catch and run, yet another big play. And there is just nobody within earshot in that pocket of DeShone Kizer when Syracuse rushes just 4.
Play action. Another strike. As Torrey Hunter has it inside the 10, first and goal at the 7. Those deep in-cut routes are all day open for Notre Dame because Syracuse cannot get a pass rush on Kizer.
No, they're committed to stopping the run. So you see the linebackers in that case, both Bennett and Franklin, flying up to that action. And you have enormous voids in zone, no pressure on the quarterback. And it puts defensive coordinator Brian Ward in a very uncomfortable, nearly impossible situation to try to call defense.
Kizer tries to do it himself. Out of bounds at the 5. He has 300 yards passing already here in the first half, and we still have 6.5 minutes to go before halftime.
And he would be, I think, the first to tell you, and Brian would as well if he didn't, Brian Kelly. While you have 300, you could have 400. If those are catch and run balls or the go route that you missed to Stepherson, or the shallow cross, and that's what the best ones do. It's what Jimbo Fisher does. We saw that a week ago, incredibly demanding on this position. Don't just settle to be average and mediocre. Strive to be perfect in what you do.
Here comes the rush. And this time they are able to corral Kizer and bring him down. Syracuse gets the sack. Back to about the 14-yard line. DeShone Wilson with his first sack of the season.
And it's right off the snap. Finally, somebody beats the hands of Alex Bars, does Wilson right there. Right off the snap, right off the jump. When they're bigger and stronger than you see some of the frustration with Notre Dame's group, then you have got to use your quickness, and your hands have got to beat that offensive tackles.
Chance to force a field goal attempt here on 3rd down and goal, now back at the 14. Kizer, jump ball, back of the end zone, out of the back of the end zone, and incomplete. So the sack sets up a field goal attempt now. That's the game-changing play, as Durham Smythe couldn't haul in the air ball from DeShone Kizer. And this keeps it a 2-possession game, even if Justin Yoon knocks it through.
Well, it's 2 red zone stops. It's a 4th down stop where it is 0 points, and even here if it's 3, and those are wins. I mean, that just gives you at least an opportunity for Dino Babers to stay within striking distance.
From 31 yards out. Just inside the right upright and good. 13-point lead for Notre Dame. What a wild first half here at MetLife Stadium. Sean Riley brings it back from the 1. Now to about the 22. And a flag is thrown. Fumble on the exchange. Dungy maintains his composure, picks the ball up, and throws it away. And that saves some real estate for Syracuse, although they have gone 3 and out on their last 2 possessions. The Orange have 273 yards of total offense, but their offense has stalled with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Catch made. Kevin Butler breaks a tackle, grinds out a first down. Gain of 15 out to midfield.
Doesn't get any easier. I mean, that is the most simple pitch and catch you can see in Pee Wee football. A 6-yard hitch, and you got to come up and make a tackle.
Only a three-man rush again, so Dungy has a clear passing lane, and for the first time in quite a while finds Amba Edetawa for another first down.
So the answer is pretty clear. If you're Notre Dame this week and you wanted to simplify things and make it so your guys could just fly around, you are seeing it time again.
Dungy scrambling. Throws it away.
And there's something to be said for it. It's a three-man rush and you're dropping 8 into coverage. And I showed you that stopwatch earlier. Dungy wants to get the ball out. I want to find all these completions. If you've got 8 playing defense, heck, it's a little like Bill Belichick did to the greatest show on turf. I want to disrupt their timing. But not only to keep everything in front of them, I don't want Syracuse to dictate with their tempo and timing and just get the ball so quickly out of their hands. I want to make that quarterback think.
Straight handoff this time and blown up in the backfield. Isaac Rochelle. No room for Dante Strickland. That's a loss of 4. And now it's 3rd and 14.
And he's the best player in that group. There's no doubt about it. And the sack numbers may not be there, but the disruption is. And if you're going to just rush 3, you're incumbent on those big fellas doing and making plays just like that.
In this area of the field, this might be 2 downs to pick this up for Syracuse inside the plus 40-yard line. They may not need to pick up a first down on this play. Dungy in trouble, goes down, and now it's 4th down and long. Isaac Rochelle brought him down after a gain maybe of 1.5 yards, so that's not a sack. But this might be a spot even on 4th down and 12 where Syracuse feels like they have to go for it.
I would think the way you're playing defense, and Dino knows this, I would eliminate the might. It may have been too much in the first quarter. When I say go for it from your own 43.
A pooch punt is possible here for Eric Dungy with no one back deep. There it is. Can they down it before it gets to the goal line? And they will. Brisley Esteem inside the 5-yard line. So Eric Dungy changes field position on his own. A punt of 33 yards. Draw play here to Josh Adams. He's out close to the 15-yard line. Very close to a first down.
There's some of that run game that I would like to see. And I think this is an opportunity if you're Notre Dame. You know you have so many physical advantages across the board. You've seen it on the perimeter. And I would certainly like to see that quick hitting run game between the tackles because I think you have the talent to do it.
The outlet pass is there to Josh Adams. And that does result in a first down on the check down from DeShone Kizer, a gain of 8.
And once again, he's hitting his chest. That's to throw on rhythm. That is to throw with more anticipation. As good as he has been, and he's been fantastic in this first half. There's still opportunities to get the ball out of his hands quicker.
4-man rush. Kizer over the middle. Equanimous St. Brown again. Obviously with a first down stopping the clock, and with all 3 timeouts for Notre Dame and a gain of 16, the clock, even though it's under 2 minutes, almost a non-factor right now for the Irish. Kizer over the middle. I guess that's a moot point. Miles Boykin with a first down to the Syracuse 42.
And Syracuse says if that 8-man in coverage is doing good things to Notre Dame, let us try it. But unfortunately, flat-footed across the board, an easy pitch and catch.
Kizer, short one over the middle to Dexter Williams. Still good for about 7.5 yards. And now Notre Dame will use their first timeout with 1:18 to go before halftime. Back in 30 seconds to MetLife Stadium. Pump fake. Kizer keeps the play alive, avoids the sack, and throws it away. Obviously that saves timeouts and time on the clock as well. But Harris Bennett had an opportunity to make a big play for Syracuse defensively and just could not wrap up Kizer.
And he knows it. And those are the plays you have to make when you've got your one-on-one situations. Tough in zone coverage. They're not finding any answers within their zone coverage defensively. And when you get home, you got to finish.
3rd down and 3. Kizer under pressure again. All of a sudden the pass rush starts to become a factor for Syracuse. And he'll be sacked all the way back to midfield. That takes them out of any realistic field goal range. And now you have to think Dino Babers will call a timeout. And he does. Because his offense, with 54 seconds to go, is about to get the ball back.
Tell you what, that was a tremendous inside rush here. That's the most difficult rush. You can step up and around. But Chris Slayton right there played a little D end early this season. He's moved inside to get Josh Black, the freshman, to start outside of him. And he beats a really good guard. Quentin Nelson, left guard there for Notre Dame, on tape. One of the better players I've seen inside this season.
Tyler Newsome drops it inside the 15, using a stiff arm as Brisley Esteem. Breaks another tackle. Down the sideline goes Brisley Esteem. Stays on his feet. Inside the 15. A 75-yard punt return for Brisley Esteem. And did these cover guys for Notre Dame slow up, thinking it was going to be a fair catch?
Better not ever assume, as you see Martini there, the missed tackle. Greer Martini, the linebacker, in on special teams. And this team has this capability. Seniors played a ton of football. I'll tell you about a game changer. Going into and coming out of half always can turn emotion and momentum. And getting beaten up and down the field defensively, over 400 yards you've given up, yet you find a way to score here and get the ball to begin the second half. You change the energy, and Brian Kelly knows it.
Dungy dropped at the 10-yard line, right into the hands of Irvin Phillips. He averages 9 catches per game, 6th most in FBS. He is normally a very sure pair of hands. 2nd down and 10. Special teams has been huge here in the first half. 9 points scored on special teams by Notre Dame. Dungy over the middle. Who's got it? In the end zone. That's redemption. Irvin Phillips, right after the drop, scores. I told you he had good hands.
What a huge, huge touchdown. And I've talked about these Notre Dame guys playing that zone coverage and playing on their toes a lot more over the last 15 minutes of ball, but that time back on their heels. A missed tackle, safety late to collision. And Dungy and Syracuse coming to life at the end of the first half.
Point after is good from Cole Murphy.
Going into halftime.
Only 727 yards of total offense in the first half. Back to Adnan, Joey Galloway, and Danny Cannell, the Lexus halftime report.
And Coach Kelly, Syracuse does miss the field goal, but certainly a change in the feel of things at the end of the half. How do you help your team recover from that?
I don't think we need to recover at all. We just need to tackle on special teams and not make silly mistakes. I mean, throw an interception there late. DeShone knows better not to do those kinds of things. The ball needs to obviously be checked down or thrown away. So just some silly mistakes. I like the way our kids are playing with energy. We got to finish off drives offensively. You know, you score 33 points and it's still not enough in the first half. And defensively, we're fighting our tails off. You know, we got a lot of young guys out there. We got to make some plays when the ball's in the air, but we'll have to correct a couple of things at halftime, finish off some drives, and we can't let them back in the game with mistakes on special teams.
You mentioned energy, and I know that was a huge point of emphasis for you this week. What have you felt that's been a little different on the sidelines with your guys?
Just the guys are playing free and fast, and you know, they're out there making some plays. And again, I think this game doesn't need to be that complicated. Go out and play.
Coach, thanks.
And you are watching total offensive numbers that if we get a repeat in the second half of what we had in the first half, we'll go over 1,400 yards. 33-27. Notre Dame has the lead over Syracuse. The Orange about to start the third quarter with the football. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams down on the field. This is not the day to be a defensive coordinator.
No.
Would you praise the offenses, or do you look at these two defenses and shrug your shoulders to find answers?
Yeah, I think they're both challenged, and we talked throughout that first half. It's hard to play defense when you don't trust your people on the back end to play man-to-man. It's even more difficult when your front four can't impact and affect the game, and that's what we're seeing here. Now, having said that, Dino Babers just got done telling Allison that his defense has kept us in it. 1 for 6 on third down conversions is Notre Dame. Get the takeaway before half. They've held them 1 out of 3 times to touchdowns in the red zone. And for Dino, in his estimation, that's going to be good enough because he trusts his offense can go up and down this field.
Just before we went away at halftime, we even had Brian Kelly telling Allison that he thinks the defense for Notre Dame playing their tails off, just have to tackle a little better. It's hard to imagine with these types of offensive numbers up that either defensive coach or head coach could praise the effort that they saw in the first half. But Syracuse will start the second half with the ball at their own 25-yard line. And Allison, let's check in with you down on the sideline.
Yeah, as Brock said, the defense has kept us in it, and they will win this game, is what Dino Babers told me at the half. Kind of surprising considering they've given up 33 points. Now, he did say there are some adjustments they have to make on the defensive end, but the most important thing for them is to continue to play together and play hard. Now, they certainly ended that first half on a good note, and he said if we can find a way to score here on the opening drive, it would help us keep that momentum going.
Well, it would certainly keep the momentum going, because if Syracuse scores on this drive, an opportunity to take the lead. They'll run it again. Dante Strickland, this time net behind the line. He may have lost a yard. Jerry Tillery made the stop for the Fighting Irish. And let's see, back to the line of scrimmage was forward progress, so it's 2nd and 10. This time a blitz comes, a 5-man rush. Niles Morgan was able to get a hand on the football. Let's go down to Allison.
Well, you guys were talking about how Notre Dame defensively has decreased what they're doing. They simplified things, but they're playing more guys. That was something Brian Kelly said was really important for them this week. His whole philosophy was you can't buy in if you don't weigh in. So he created some competition on that defensive side of the ball as well.
Well, they have set up a big 3rd down and 5 now here at midfield, as that time James Onwalu came on a far side blitz. It is a 4-man rush on 3rd down. Dungy wants to run. May have lost the football with a flag down. A scramble for it. Who's got it? It is 4th down. Looks like Aaron Roberts, the left guard, recovered for Syracuse. But now we have to check the penalty marker.
Holding, number 59, offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
See the hold right here in the middle of the pit, and what I love here is a little line game. Not a 3-man rush, not being passive, and it doesn't always mean blitzing the house and playing man. Just run a nice line stunt, but do it crisp and do it with effort to execute. And it's a much better series there. A 2nd and 3rd down with a 5-man pressure, a line stunt that gets home. That's what you would love to see if you're a Notre Dame fan.
Sterling Hofrichter, again the rugby style kick, and this is his best of the day. Forces Chris Fink into a fair catch inside his own 15-yard line. DeShone Kizer still with a 6-point lead. Back on the field, ended the first half with an interception that he forced to Zaire Franklin. Start off the second half with a straight ahead run to Josh Adams. And straight ahead run, something that we don't say often with this Notre Dame offense, and that, Brock, has surprised you today.
Well, it's hard to be critical of a group with 400 yards of offense and points up and down the field, but this is just the element through the course of a season that I would like to see employed more. I think Nelson's a fantastic guard, and McGlinchey at left tackle as well. And I think with an undersized, inexperienced freshman group defensively, running right at them would benefit everything. Set up play action, slow down a rush, and really dictate to that group defensively.
Kizer to throw on 2nd down. Perfect throw outside the numbers to Durham Smythe. And the tight end is across the 30 to the 32, a gain of 15.
And as good as DeShone is, and I think he's got a ton of upside. Todd McShay thinks he's the #1 quarterback in the 2017 class. You want to make him even better? Take some of the burden off of his shoulders. So every run play isn't his own read to him, and that he's got to play and employ. Allow him to just hand it off and let those big fellas get to work.
Kizer off play action, looking for the home run, out in front, drops it in perfectly to the freshman, Kevin Stefferson, for a walk-in touchdown.
Well, this is what you call that catch and run ball. And he's thrown a bunch of these deep, giving his guys opportunities to not slow down. And Stefferson maybe a half step slow down, but that's exactly what you want. Missed the go route earlier. A very similar call, a very similar coverage there. And Notre Dame takes advantage and executes coming out of the halftime.
2-score lead again for Notre Dame. Another big play over the top for DeShone Kizer, this time to Stefferson. Welcome back, Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewart. Down on the field, Allison Williams. A 2-touchdown lead again for Notre Dame. And Brock, when we were watching some film getting ready for this game, you kind of gave me the big eye roll and said, you know, both defenses, from what I've seen on tape, could be in some trouble on Saturday. How has it played out? 67 points. Syracuse about to get the football back. Riley from inside the 5. Out to the 21. Dungy out of the pocket. Low throw to the sideline. Is it scooped up? It is not, as Devin Butler couldn't hold on.
And another 5-man pressure. So once again, the adjustments. What's Syracuse going to do? They're going to come out and try to run the ball. They're anticipating Notre Dame staying in that passive 8-man in coverage look, and instead snaps here on the previous series. Bring a 5th. Bring that edge pressure. As for me, if I'm a head coach and I want to get my defensive guys going, I don't think there's anything better than allowing them to cut it loose, even if it means some one-on-one coverage outside.
And that time a drop by Editawa. Now it's 3rd down and 15.
And those are the misses, and that's the margin for error you just don't have if you're the Qs. You just cannot afford to have a false start. You cannot afford to have pre-snap penalties or simple pitch and catch drops.
Dungy runs into the pressure and goes down. Jonathan Bonner was the first man there for Notre Dame, and it will be a punt now for Syracuse. And there's a little spirit. Greg Hudson. Very little of that through the first 4 weeks of the season for Brian Kelly's team, and he wanted his players to feel that enthusiasm on the sideline, and obviously having a coach down there and Greg Hudson that initiates that can't hurt.
Way to stay on your feet. That was close right there. That could have been ugly.
Here's Sterling Hoffrichter with the rush coming. Gets away a line drive. Chris Fink at the 30-yard line. Goes down right at the 30. 39-yard punt. Nothing on the return, but Notre Dame with a chance to really take control of this game now. It is an operation to travel a football team, and there is gold in that locker room for Notre Dame. All the helmets, by the way, the tradition is pointing towards the door of the locker room that they will head out. And now they start at their own 30-yard line with a 2-touchdown lead. Easy pitch and catch to Miles Boykin. And he dives for 11 and a first down.
It's got to be a confidence builder for DeShone. So much pressure playing that position, especially at this institution. You know you're going to get at times all the glory and all the praise. You're also going to take a ton of the criticism. Lots of space, lots of time for him to do damage, and the shots down the field over 26 yards per completion. Remarkable.
Extending the play again. That's a coverage sack. He may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but downfield, nowhere to go with the football. And eventually Kendall Coleman, one of those true freshman starting defensive ends for Syracuse, got him right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
But a good teaching point. He doesn't force it. there before half. Some of the momentum turning. I think I could force something in here and make a play. Could possibly chuck it out of bounds, but the worst thing to do, try to force it and force plays down the field.
Little zone read to Dexter Williams. He reverses field. Finds a lane. He might be gone. Touchdown. That's the look you would expect to see on the face of a head coach that sees Dexter Williams basically do a Marcus Allen. That play was snuffed out and shut down by the Syracuse defensive front, and it results in a 59-yard touchdown.
And you heard Todd Blackledge last night talk about containment and leverage coming right at you, Cordell. You've got to find a way when you're the last line of defense to let your buddies come help you out. He can't. There you see the elite speed of Dexter Williams and why they're so excited to get him more opportunities with the ball in his hands. He is fast.
A 20-point lead now for Notre Dame. Still a lot of time left here at MetLife Stadium.
It looks like it's hard to play, like we're pulling teeth. You're playing football for Notre Dame. Looks like it's work. Last I checked, they were getting a scholarship to play this game. There's no fun, there's no enjoyment, there's no energy. We got to look for the guys that want to have fun and play this game with passion and energy, and that's where we got to go.
That was Brian Kelly earlier this week after the loss to Duke at home last week, wanting to see his team out there having fun playing football. And they are a long way away from solving their problems on defense, but Notre Dame looks like a team that is having a little more fun playing football. Dungy, shovel pass, Dante Strickland up the middle. And it looks like he moved the pile for a first down. And give Dino Babers credit as well. We were first guessing the decision to go for it on 4th down and 9 or to punt. He decided to punt, and they are right where that strategy designed for them to be, starting in plus territory. Dungy sidearm slings one to Steve Ishmael. He's inside the 20-yard line, so Syracuse back in the red zone, needing a touchdown to try and get within 2 scores. Dungy gets outside. First down. Out of bounds at the 11.
Could be a little shovel pass, but there's some of the growth and development for Eric Dungy. Instead of panicking right there, makes the heady play, still is able to break containment. We've got to find a 7 here for Syracuse.
Toss to Strickland. A couple of yards, maybe 3, down to the 9-yard line. So it will be 2nd down and 8 from the 9. Final minute of play of the 3rd quarter.
When I say find 7, it's not just 7 points. I'd like to find Amba right here. My big body receiver that is a matchup nightmare for just about any other corner outside of Cole Luke.
He looks to Editawo, and Editawo walls off the coverage and makes the catch at the 5. True freshman corner Julian Love was very close to jumping that route, and if he picks that one off, that is 95 yards to the house the other way. Instead, it's 3rd down at the 5-yard line. Dungy floats one, incomplete. Now a field goal does very little for you if you are Syracuse. You kick a field goal, it would cut the lead to 17. That's still 3 scores. So now it's 4th down from the 5. Have to go for it. Syracuse can get a first down inside the 1. Dungy back in the end zone. Knocked away. Intended for Irvin Phillips. And Notre Dame, their sideline celebrates again. You can see Brian Kelly with his defense getting the 4th down stop.
And Greg Hudson loves it. And a better throw here from Eric Dungy, and you've got 7 points. You get down into the red zone, and it's all about precision. Got a flat route on the previous down. If he throws it on the money and on time, it's a touchdown. That time to Irvin, a nice route. He gives him his shoulders. He's in the back of the end zone. It just shows you the difference there as the field squeezes. You've got to be spot on.
Greer Martini at linebacker closed the distance just in the nick of time to get a hand in on Irvin Phillips and help knock the ball away. So back to the offense for the Irish on what should be the final play of the 3rd quarter at their own 5-yard line. Josh Adams has a step, gets outside, stays in bounds and picks up about 5 more yards on the hop. So that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Syracuse had their chance down inside the 5-yard line. And now Dino Babers needs his defense to make a game-changing play. Up the middle, breaking tackles goes Josh Adams. Close to a 1st down, about 1.5 yards shy. So we open up the 4th quarter with a 3rd down for Notre Dame. And there's the big win at the bottom of the screen for Washington. But first top 5 matchup this year, Louisville and Clemson at 8 p.m. tonight on ABC.
And can Lamar Jackson stay between the tackles? If you're Brent Venables and you're Clemson, your whole plan has to be about that containment. And if he can beat you with his arm between the tackles, you say, God bless you.
There is the 3rd down conversion on the leap by Josh Adams.
There's a couple good runs right between the tackles. I'm telling you, over the course of a season, as Notre Dame's going to play Stanford, right, as they're going to play a tough schedule here down the stretch, the ability of this group right here, big fellas, I like that little fist bump right there with Mustapher and Nelson. Those guys to just enforce their will to beat people up will only enhance the quarterback in the passing game.
Swing pass, one-handed catch made with a cutback. It's C.J. Sanders. And he has a 1st down, a gain of 13. You know, last week we had Jimbo Fisher really putting the hammer down on USF, never taking his foot off the gas pedal for Florida State. Do you see Brian Kelly using that same philosophy the rest of the way here?
I would sure think so.
Little wide receiver hitch to Corey Holmes. And it seemed like last week, coming off of the lopsided loss to Louisville, it was about more than last week for Florida State. Today's game for Notre Dame at 1-3 seems like it's more than just about finding a way to beat Syracuse for Brian Kelly.
It's striving for consistency, because when they play their best ball, they can play with anybody in the country. But if they're not focused and hyper attention to detail, they struggle.
Long throw by Kizer, good for a 1st down. As Torrey Hunter comes back to bail him out. Torrey Hunter, by the way, had an opportunity and still could to follow in his dad's footsteps. Of course, his father played 19 years in the big leagues for the Twins, Angels, and Tigers. And back in the baseball amateur draft, he was drafted by the Angels in the 23rd round. He was a great high school baseball player. Counter handoff, Dexter Williams. Held onto by Paris Bennett at the 25-yard line, and now we've got an injury to Dexter Williams, and that did not look good when he went down. Good to see Dexter Williams not only able to walk off the field on his own, but also putting his helmet back on, as this didn't look good. That left leg getting trapped underneath Paris Bennett on that last tackle. But not even back in the locker room, as he is staying on the sideline with his helmet on. On 2nd down, DeShone Kizer. Wide receiver screen to Corey Holmes. And a pretty good tackle by Rodney Williams after a gain of 3. 3rd down and 5. Long throw outside the numbers again, and this time a little too long for DeShone Kizer. Short hops it to C.J. Sanders, so it will be a field goal attempt for Justin Yoon.
And I would say no thank you on that throw. No way on third down all the way across the field, and especially on a quick out where those defenders are watching it the whole way.
A 39-yard attempt, which would tie the long this year for Justin Yoon. His career long 52. He certainly has the leg. And that one's right down the middle. Still a 3-possession game, as it's now a 23-point lead for the Irish. It is an honor to wear number 44 for the Orange, and why not? Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, well, they set the standard. Rob Conrad, the last Orange player to wear 44. And speaking of Floyd Little, teammates, the backfield back in the mid-60s for Syracuse, Floyd Little, Tom Coughlin, and Larry Zonka. How about those three names? Floyd Little, boy, does he look great. Tom Coughlin, he had a couple of Super Bowl rings on his finger when he was down before the game as the honorary captain to toss the coin. Sean Riley takes a knee. And then that's a game that we called last week, as Eric Dungy starts from his own 25-yard line with a sideline route out of bounds intended for Brisley Esteem. Talk about establishing your best player as the best player on the field.
Yep.
Boy, did Florida State do that last week against USF with Dalvin Cook.
Well, I'll use that word, establishing. And Brian Kelly wanted to establish some defensive confidence. It's been a well-executed second half.
Dungy over the middle. That's good for a first down. Sean Riley, the freshman, picks up 13.
4 consecutive punts, a red zone stop for Notre Dame defensively. He wanted his guys to play faster, to have a little bit of life defensively. Nothing better than success to instill that confidence.
Quarterback draw. Dungy breaks a tackle. No slide here, as now he's trying to get whatever he can, taking on tacklers for a gain of nearly 6 yards, as he is brought down by Drew Tranquil.
And if you're Notre Dame now in this situation, you're content keeping everything, absolutely everything in front of you.
Dungy, low throw to the sideline, on time for Irvin Phillips for another first down for Syracuse, a gain of 9.
You can just look at those safeties for Notre Dame, lining up pre-snap 15 yards deep.
Slant, and it looks like that is a catch for Irvin Phillips. 5 more. Niles Morgan was all over Phillips, who was somehow able to box out Morgan and hold on to the football. Wide open Dante Strickland. Syracuse back in the red zone at the 18-yard line with a first down. Fake toss into the 4-yard line, crumpled underneath Irish tacklers is Eric Dungy. Boy, you run plays like that too often, your quarterback's not going to stay upright.
We call that running into a headache.
It's Andrew Trimbetti and Niles Morgan that combined to give Dungy the headache. 14th play of the drive, and a drive that's actually now consuming clock for an offense that goes pretty quickly. Dungy, speed, turns the corner, reaches for the pylon, he's in. That's a Syracuse touchdown.
The best Irish defender that he runs by. One of the rare times in the entire second half we've seen that look from Greg Hudson. That's Cole Luke, typically playing outside on the corner. An excellent job there by Dungy, clearly breaking the plane for the touchdown. But a one-on-one situation in the open field. Dungy, Luke. I think Greg Hudson would typically take his guy Credit the sophomore quarterback for winning and putting 7 more on the board.
Cole Murphy to try and cut the lead down to 16. And they muff the snap. That is disaster for Syracuse. Any momentum they had now goes out the window, because now it is still a 3-possession game with 6:52 to go. Now they're almost compelled, you'd have to think, to kick onside when they come back. This is a point, Brock, they could not afford to give away. As now Syracuse compelled to try an onside kick. And it will be recovered by Notre Dame. And that is Equanimous St. Brown. That is there to hold on to it for the Irish. Josh Adams jumps back inside for about 3 yards. Well, under Harry Heastand, they've had 4 players in the first 3 rounds drafted over the last 3 years. Todd McShay, obviously, with a couple of more offensive linemen projected as first rounders in Nelson and McGlinchey. But you go back to Ronnie Staley being drafted 6th overall by the Ravens last year. Zach Martin on that list. What a find he's been for the Cowboys back in 2014. So tight ends and offensive linemen. If you're good at Notre Dame at those spots, you are not only in the NFL, you're drafted in the top 3 rounds.
And they're hard to find. You look around college football, you talk to anybody in the NFL, there is demand for those difference makers up front.
Josh Adams looks to be good for another Notre Dame first down.
And I'd love to do a case study, a research project, and I bet you are going to find their productivity on runs like that. Right between the tackles, no dancing, you just go north and south. And I know it's a little bit outside of everything they love to do. They love their stretch zone, and it sets up wonderful play action. Kizer's phenomenal at riding the mesh point and being a force in the run game himself. But if you can continue to institute that downhill nature, I think it only adds and benefits to the overall package.
Adams again into the heart of that Syracuse defense for a gain of 2. And Syracuse, it has not been kind to them here at MetLife Stadium. They are about to fall to 0-4 in games played where they are the home team here at MetLife. 2012 they lost to USC. 2013 lost to Penn State. A couple of years ago lost to Notre Dame, and now here again about to lose to the Irish. Adams up the middle to the 23-yard line tonight. Loss of a yard for Josh Adams. So that will bring up 4th down. And it looks like it will be Justin Yoon to come out to try a field goal to add 3 more for Notre Dame.
You like the yards and the points and the offensive productivity. That's not been a challenge through the first 4 games. Other than the Michigan State first 2.5 to 3 quarters of that game, there were some steps taken defensively. You started to see guys pull the trigger and be confident in some of their zone principles. And nice to see Justin Yoon, who was just 2 of 4 coming in, connecting on his previous 2 and a chance for a 3rd.
Yep, chance to continue to build the confidence of your kicker as this one hooks left. So that backfires. So it's still a 17-point lead for Notre Dame with 1:11 to go. Zach Mahoney now in at quarterback. A little draw play up the middle to Jordan Fredericks. And he runs hard for 9 yards.
Can I wish my partner a happy birthday finally? 59 minutes into this thing. Happy birthday, Bob.
Thank you very much. Yes, my 45th birthday. My bald spot is 15 today, so happy birthday to that as well. That's Fredericks. He is able to jitterbug his way for a first down.
I know you'll enjoy watching that, as we all will tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible weekend.
Just the scene when it's a top 5 matchup of Clemson running down that hill. I mean, that alone is must-watch TV. One more chance for Fredericks to run the football, breaks a tackle. And that may be the final play, as it will be a 17-point win, it looks like, for Notre Dame. Now it looks like Syracuse is going to try and get another snap off. Why not give it to Jordan Fredericks one more time? And now the coaches walk off their respective sidelines. So Brian Kelly's team with an opportunity to chest bump a bit today as they win 50-33 over Syracuse. Time for Mark Jones and Rod Gilmore. Florida State and North Carolina next.